can bring in our foreign affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Doug, good afternoon.
Dude.
FIFA and Qatar have been under pressure for these games for a host of reasons. From the timing of the games to later in the year, the using AC air conditioning inside the venues and human rights for the workers.
The whole kit and caboodle, as they say. It's almost impossible to talk about this as a sporting event and to speak about it from the sporting angle. Both FIFA, the World Football Federation, and Qatar are still under a pall of controversy and severe criticism, which never has gone away since Qatar was awarded this World Cup in 2010 amid allegations of vote buying and corruption. Today, you still have, with just a month to go, the concerns over the abuse of workers who built the construction sites, thousands of workers who built tens of billions of dollars worth of stadium and roads and airport updates and so on and so forth. Also, allegations of a horrible carbon footprint, the environmental impact, the air conditioning in a place which is literally in the desert, even though they moved it till a later time, and those allegations of corruption, the pall of corruption. Amnesty International said, sure, in a recent report, sure, Qatar has made some progress on labor market reforms, which have been sort of at the center of the criticism. But they still say, as far as the protection of migrant workers, remember, most of these migrant workers, South Asian workers from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, not all South Asia, also Egypt as well, they have been horribly exploited. They say that there still has not been, neither FIFA nor Qatar have agreed to what a lot of the European football federations are now calling for, to a compensation fund, hundreds of millions of dollars, to compensate workers who suffered abuses, who worked on these construction sites. FIFA says, well, it's still considering it. Qatar is looking at it. They've never actually met those demands for compensation funds. Amnesty says the work on that has hardly begun, even if on perhaps some of those labor reforms in protecting migrant workers, there has been some progress, but that work is even half done. Denmark, I will mention, one of the teams playing, its team, the shirt manufacturer, the designer of its kit has an all-black shirt. It's sort of a mourning-style shirt where you can, the actual logo, the name and logo of the company and the national team are almost concealed within the black, and that is a mourning black in protest at the workers' exploitation as they see it. A lot of cities here in France, from Paris to Toulouse to Strasbourg to Lille to Reims, aren't even going to set up big screens in public spaces for people to watch. That's their way of, if not boycotting, at least protesting the human rights record of Qatar. So far from going away, this pall of controversy is very, very much present.
So how is the host country, trying to shape the narrative, essentially? What are they saying?
Pushing back very hard, saying that this is an old, hackneyed narrative which doesn't reflect the great updates and the reforms that Qatar says it has carried out. Qatar says it's been very much heedful, cognizant of the criticism early on, has done a lot to try to address it, tackle it head on. But the fact of the matter is, there are still reports that a lot of workers, they're expecting 1.2 million people to flood into Qatar, a country of only 3 million for this tournament. There are reports that migrant workers, the same ones from South Asia I was talking about, are being asked to leave the country, for this thing. There's a real sense that they're still not just second-class, but third-class citizens, even though it's thanks to their sweat and toil that this World Cup is able to take place at all. But Qatar pushing back on that, basically saying they have made great strides, also seeing a lot of this criticism as a big European conspiracy against Qatar, against Kingdom. So it's still wrapped up in a lot of controversy. It's a he said, she said thing, but the question is who's going to end up watching.
I'm curious to see who's going to end up going, which heads of state are going to go for the opening ceremony and the games that follow.
Right? Yeah,
Thank you very much for that, Doug. Douglas Herbert there.